Welcome, Lucas, to the Real Results Podcast. It's nice to have you.
Let me try this.
No, you're just...
Welcome, Levi, to the Real Results Podcast. I'm your host, Lucas Petty, owner of AI Daddy.
Did you just take my podcast right now? Is that what's happening? You just took it from me, dude?
I'm just going to do the intro.
I'm like
for
3
you.
episodes in and you just took my entire podcast from me.
Okay. You got this podcast intro.
Lucas, why don't you introduce yourself?
Thank you for having me, Levi. I've been following along your podcast, your journey, consuming your content. And I just want to say for all the listeners out there, it's been a tremendous amount of help in helping me improve my storytelling and my whole content creation process. So thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate those words. And I've been watching your content as well. You do great stuff on TikTok. You're posting a lot on there. I've been watching a lot of it. It's very informative about AI. And so I'm really excited to pick your brain on AI content specifically. So why don't we start off by talking about, what makes great AI content in your eyes?
Yeah. Great AI content ultimately gives you permission to imagine. And what I mean by that is our default setting when it comes to AI is thinking it's fake.
Right.
That it's a lie, that it's a scam, that it's going to take our jobs. And so the word facts and AI have to be as far away as possible from each other. Because the moment I feel like I'm getting lied to, I'm getting manipulated or deceived, that AI content is going to fail.
And what are you seeing right now with like the trends on AI content? I mean, I've seen a lot of commercials on TV using AI content. Like you see the Coca-Cola commercial and stuff like that. You're starting to see that like shift. You know what I'm saying?
What they all have in common is exactly that point that they let you imagine. They take you to a level of absurdity that just makes it enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
That makes you go, what the hell is happening here? The content that I've seen work the best on social media for AI is AI memes, right? By default, memes have to be ridiculous, funny, just so far out there, but at the same time, relevant.
Yeah.
And so I actually sent you a piece of AI content that had millions of views. It was just a little baby kung fu fighting a baby panda.
Yeah.
The amount of engagement, comments, shares was off the roof. There's this architecture channel that I can't remember the name, but they have architecture on Mars, on Jupiter. They imagine these insane structures on other planets and they get millions of views.
Right.
I follow this one fashion account that has women walking up and down the runway in dresses made out of water.
Yeah.
Made out of these things that like
crazy, right?
Are insane. And because they let you imagine whole new things that aren't possible in reality, that's why that AI content works so well.
And it's just so new. Like we haven't seen this before ever in our lives. It's creating stuff that humans don't see on a regular basis because we're used to filming stuff that's real in real life with cameras. And now we're getting this whole new wave of just weird, like obscure stuff. Like you talked about a water dress. No one's seen that. No one's even imagined that. So we're creating things that no one's even imagined. We're creating videos that no one's even seen before. So naturally it's going to catch eyes. I would say even more effectively than normal content when it comes to like getting views on social media, when it comes to getting that crazy engagement, right? What I wanted to ask you while you were talking is like, I thought of the other side, right? So think of like business professionals. You talked a lot about AI making these like absurd things, memes, right? What about like business professionals who are trying to create content using AI? Do you think that there's specific tools that they can use to improve their content, or
the account that shows you an AI baby fighting a panda or all these absurd things? all those accounts are still business accounts, right? The baby puts on the Pampers diapers, and now it can fight these monsters. The fashion account, they're fashion designers for top end, retail companies. And this is just a way of them getting the attention for the thing that they actually sell, right? And it's kind of indirect. It's the Coca-Cola commercial you mentioned. A lot of the big Fortune 500 companies, their commercials, how do those big companies sell? They don't show you the product.
It's the emotion.
They sell you an emotion. They sell you a feeling.
Right.
Right? But let's bring it back to the individual content creators or the individual consultants, the smaller mom and pop businesses. How can they get away with it? Because we don't have the budgets, we don't have the resources that these big players have. And I think that's where AI really excels.
Yeah.
Right? It creates a little bit of a level playing
even
field.
playing field. Yeah, absolutely.
I think it starts off with recognizing we don't have the budgets, the resources, the time, the people, the money to automate our entire content creation process, because it's 100% doable. You can automate and have your blogs be posted without any human review or contact. You can have videos fully created, but getting there takes a lot of time and effort. And most of us don't have that. So the best place to start is taking the formulas of content creation and training an AI or having an AI utilize those formulas. Because what's AI ultimately really good at? Pattern recognition, right? Like that's why it's able to take all the internet's information and now we can have conversations with it. It recognized OpenAI and all these tools we use. They've recognized the patterns in conversations and can therefore give us answers that we want.
I just want to talk about the pattern stuff because we were looking at a graph earlier, right?
Yeah.
With the Gen X buying patterns and the buying behaviors. So I think also it's important to start, yes, with what you just said, but I think also finding your target audience and finding your why is, I would say, the first step. And that will kind of lead you, if you are creating content, whether it's through AI or the camera, that's like step one for me, is like who cares about what you're doing? Whose lives are you really impacting? You know, whether it's your customers, your clients, or someone else. And then what's your purpose, right? So why are you doing this in the first place? Diving deep into that. And then also finding who your target audience is as well before you create any type of content. Back to that graph, we saw the buying patterns of people who use social media. Studying those, I feel like, is something that I do a lot whenever I'm taking on a new client, trying to understand the marketplace, right? Of where they are at, is finding those buying patterns in different age groups. So what age group is going to, be most likely to buy your product? Looking online at data, using ChatGPT, right, to find that data of whose buying patterns are more likely to buy your product, right? So that, I would say, is step one.
Yeah.
So I kind of agree, but also I'm a very analytical person.
No, I actually really love that you brought all that up, because I was more focused on just the content side of things.
Because the reason I brought that up is because I don't think AI is just a plug and play solution.
No.
That's not what I believe. And I'm sure you agree.
Yeah.
I think that if you use it strategically, it can be really, really effective. Some people, actually, I would say 90% of people, when they think of AI, they're like, okay, I could just put a sentence in. It's going to do all this research for me. It's going to do all the audience work for me. It's not true. You have to do that work beforehand. You have to find your why. You have to dial that in. You have to find your audience. Once you get that, then you can then create a very effective prompt to give to AI, and that's what's really going to give you that result. Yeah. So it's not a plug and play, and that's the only reason I want to bring that up.
AI is a great way of, instead of starting with a blank canvas, starting with like a template. 99% of you listening should not be concerned about getting AI to completely automate your blogs or your videos or any of your content. You're just not ready for it. The best place to start that I was getting at was just, there's frameworks for storytelling, right? Every good story has a beginning, middle, and end. Every short on social media has a hook, the story, and a call to action. There's these basic frameworks. If one of the best storytelling frameworks comes from South Park, their But So framework, which is, instead of me going in a story and saying this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, it's just changing it to, this thing happened, but it wasn't what I wanted, so I had to take another action, but then this changed everything. And it's adding tension, it's adding stakes. There's many, many frameworks and formulas in creativity. Yeah. There's frameworks and formulas for selling and marketing. And that's what I was referring to. A great starting point is taking AI to consistently use that, because before you can take AI and try and like mass produce content, well, if you do that, you're just going to mass produce garbage.
Yeah.
And so the best place to start is just getting to the point where you use AI to consistently produce quality.
Yeah.
And then you can start thinking about mass producing that quality.
Right.
But bringing it back to what you said, I fully agree that before you even start thinking about the AI and the content creation piece, is looking at your why, it's looking at your customers, it's looking at your data. And there's so many unique strategies right there at the starting point, because the content creation piece is somewhere in the middle, right? You can take all your viewer statistics, throw them into a tool like ChatGPT, and tell it to create an avatar of who your typical viewer is. If you don't already have a customer profile or all these things to specify your content.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't have your product, if you don't have the thing that you're clearly selling, making content for the sake of content is just going to be a distraction from your business. Right? There's so many things that need to be in place first.
I have a lot of friends who get AI like calls from an agent, let's say, or see an AI video of like an AI person talking on an ad, and they immediately click off or they immediately hang up.
Yeah, because we're trying to present facts. We're trying to present things that are real, like things that are AI generated as real. And that's what's creating this lack of trust. So I'll give you an example of where I saw an AI call agent work really well. This pharmacy company that I worked with, we built out an AI call center. Yeah. Basically to just have AI dial the pharmacies that carry their products. And at first they wanted to trick their customers. Like when we were talking about it, they straight up said, like, I just want the voice to be so good. They don't think it's human. And I want to make sure we get rid of the delay. And they were focused on all this inauthenticity, all this deceit. From the get-go, I just knew it wasn't going to work out. But what I did was tell them, look, the only way I've seen AI work successfully as a use case is where we're upfront and we're honest. And so the the AI call agent would call the pharmacies.
Oh, and it just says it's
and it
AI.
would say, hey, I'm an AI agent that was created just for you by the company you already know and trust.
Okay.
And all I do is help you refill orders for the product you carry of ours, and we just make it super easy. And all you have to do is, because of the AI already knows all the data and all the information on the back end, says, hey, you're running low on supply. Would you like to refill? Yes or no? Yes. Is this your credit card? Like, I have your card on file. Can I run it? Boom. Yes. It's all done like instantaneously. But right off the front, the AI tool was presented as, we built this to make your job easier because I know that you don't want to be wasting your time refilling orders.
Right.
You have other higher priority things to do.
So you think it's being more widely accepted then, like over the phone and stuff?
Within 60 days, they saw like a 30% increase in their like refills, and because it brought in the consistency of like a monthly check-in. It brought all the data up front to the customer saying you only have 20% less, 20% of inventory, and you're selling this much and your projections are this.
Yeah.
And it just made everything a no-brainer.
Right.
The AI avatars that you mentioned before, yeah, people don't trust them. People don't like them.
If you really put yourself in their mind, when they get a call from AI, they are like, I don't want to have this work, because if I make it work, then that means it's going to become more widely accepted, and then it's going to take my job.
I do a lot of AI strategy for companies, but my real job is the change management that comes around that, because the people who write the plan don't fight the plan. The people who have to integrate and use AI fear for their jobs.
Yeah.
There's so much around it and so much trust. Like, trust ultimately ends up being like the number one word, pillar. Like, it's everything when it comes to AI. Well, before we even got to AI, how did we all react when we called a bank or a company and we got presented with a robot?
Yeah.
All we would say, and all we do say, is speak to a representative. Speak to a representative.
Yeah.
We get angry. We get upset. People think that they can just introduce an AI chat, an AI voice, and because it sounds more human, that's what people want. That's what's going to get the job done. But that's not always the case, because you have to look at what's actually being solved for.
I can tell you one in my business, because I have specifically a few tools that I've got my return on investment tenfold. One being Submagic, another being Autopod, which I'm sure you've heard of both of those. But the example of my business is editing. Editing right now, there's more and more tools coming out every day that can automate the editing process and video production. Autopod is like $30 a month, and it will edit this entire podcast in 30 seconds. $30. You know how much time that saves me and my editors, right? And so that allows us to focus on other things like graphics or stuff that is more creative. It allows us to think outside of the box. When you're editing, you're so dialed into make a cut here, make a cut here. It's just so linear. You're not thinking creatively when you're doing that. What these AI tools are doing, Submagic as well, with the captions, right? No one wants to write out a bunch of captions the whole way through. What it's allowing us to do is think more creatively. It's just what I'm trying to say. So not only has it saved time and put money back into my pocket that I would have had to pay editors to do boring work for, but it's also allowed my editors to finish projects faster, finish projects on time, which is something that I pride myself on, and overall just get a better product, and then be able to finish this one fast, go on to the next one, right?
Yeah.
So that's where that return of investment has come in my business personally.
And I think that's where the ROI is almost always across like every business that I've seen.
Yeah.
Not in trying to replace people or create fake humans with AI,
But help 'em.
but rather by automating the tasks that are repetitive, that are mundane,
Right.
that no one wants to do, because those are the tasks that your team, that your employees will give you permission to replace them at, to bring in these tools and integrate into the work so that they can focus on the higher level strategy, on the work that matters, on the sales. That's the best place to look at it. What's repetitive, what's costing time and resources, and no one wants to do.
So let me ask you this then. What are your favorite tools that you either recommend to other businesses or use yourself that can bring marketing executives or CEOs watching this, that can bring them immediate results? I shouldn't say immediate, but you know what I'm saying. What are the most profitable, I should say, tools?
So it just depends on the use case. I
Yeah.
think that it's such a hard question for me because
It really depends on, I guess, your...
because I don't want people to go down rabbit holes of tools that like AI at the end of the day is just a tool,
Yeah.
right? And without a clear problem to solve, you shouldn't be using a hammer when you need a scalpel or when you need a pen.
Right,
The tool matters so much based off the problem. But I'll tell you right off the get-go, the tools that I use every single day. I use Otter AI in all my meetings.
Same.
There's a lot of different note takers that do sentiment analysis, that'll coach and train you. I personally think all that's a distraction.
Okay.
Because at least for me as a consultant with my small team, we just need the summary. We just need the action items that come out of meetings and sales calls. I don't need all that fancy stuff. So Otter AI is the one that like solves those problems and does so much admin work for us, and it works great.
I will second that with Otter AI. So put that down in your notes, because I have used that so many times in meetings.
Yeah.
Because I forget, like after I have a meeting with, say, a new client, right? They say they need this at like the beginning of the meeting. Hey, can you send me this afterwards? I'm like, oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
After the meeting, you're like, oh my God, Otter AI is giving me these action items that I forgot about at the beginning of the meeting. You're like, Jesus, like this is saving me from so much. And you don't realize how much you're missing until you actually start using Otter AI and that, or any other meeting task platform. But
It's a game changer. It just
is.
saves you so much time.
it really is.
And it gets rid of like the mental burden of
Having to like
having to take notes, or
it allows
like,
you to be present, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another tool is Perplexity.
Okay.
I've tested every.
Isn't that like ChatGPT?
It's kind of like ChatGPT. It's more like Bing. It is a search engine. It's like what Google's trying to do now, introducing its little AI.
I've heard a lot about Perplexity. Yeah.
Perplexity is the best AI search engine that I've found because it gives you the sources. It presents. I could ask it to look up the top HR companies or recruiting companies in the Valley, where we live, and have it extract all the phone numbers, emails, all the contact information,
Wow.
all the people. And I'll know that it's not making all these things up because it gives me all the sources, and it makes it super easy to double check and track things.
That's super valuable.
Yeah.
I've never used it before, but now I will.
Yeah. That's one I use every day. Obviously, ChatGPT. With ChatGPT, I use more custom avatars or custom AI agents that I built.
Yeah.
Where I take information, data from my users, from my audience, and I have conversations with these avatars, where I throw in all my yearly planning or my goals for the year, and I create kind of like a mentor, a coach, an advisor, and I have conversations with this guru, this guy that knows everything that I want and is actively like helping me for that.
It's like a thought partner, right?
Exactly.
I used it today, actually.
Nice.
Because in the video production industry, it's literally like 9 days of trying to get a shoot and then 1 day of production, another 9 days of so it's like you have like these long periods of time where if you don't have a shoot day, right, then what are you going to be working on? How can I grow my business when I'm not on set? So if I have this time to do that, I asked ChatGPT, I said, hey, I need your help with revenue generating tasks. What are tasks that I can do right now while I'm not on set, while I'm not shooting videos that can generate me more revenue in the future? And so it came back with stuff like post on LinkedIn more often, schedule posts ahead of time so that when you're shooting a lot, it posts for you, right? So it's pretty detailed, actually. And when you use it that way as like a thought partner, that's where I found it like super, super effective. And so like the writing articles and stuff like that, to me, it's kind of like repetitive. It all sounds the same. And I can notice when someone has written an article, and I can notice when it's ChatGPT. It's pretty easy.
Because it needs to be, because they don't build AI agents. They don't build models trained on their voice, on their way of talking or writing. So I agree. Just using ChatGPT by default for your content generation, pretty mid-tier level outputs, but with some tweaking, you can get great outputs. I'm going to give a counter, because probably the way I use AI the most isn't to help me figure out what to do with my day. It's actually, I give a framework. I've trained an AI agent on a framework on leverage. And basically the highest leverage things that like I can be doing. And its sole job every morning when I wake up is I give it my calendar, I give it my to-do list, and its sole job is to delete everything that isn't high leverage, that isn't valuable to my time. And it's just to free up my time. Without having AI doing fancy tasks, I just make sure that I just have AI make sure that whatever's on my to-do list for the day is in line with my goals.
Yeah, because I'm with you, dude. I only want to be doing tasks that generate revenue, right? Like,
our time is just so limited, and I find more value in saying no and getting rid of things.
I like that. I like that.
Than trying to generate ideas on what to do, because it then turns into kind of like scrolling on social media. It's an endless flow of ideas and distractions. And the truth of a truth of like our world today is none of us need more information. We need more action.
I love that. Yeah.
And we only get more action by cutting out all the distraction, by delegating to other people to do our content creation, or other people do our AI strategy. Like, it's better to rely on others to focus on things that matter the most, that we're great at.
Yeah.
And yes, with time, integrating the automations and the AI that like is the same as bringing in people. But no matter how much automation you bring into your processes or your company, you can't get rid of the people. Because everything we do in life, everything we do in business is for people.
Yeah.
Another person has to pay you money or buy your thing for your business to stay afloat. All the people that work at your company are the culture, the lifeblood, what make it worth getting up every day and like showing up.
I love that, man. So before we wrap up here, I want to ask you, you have how many followers on TikTok now?
I don't know, close to 150,000.
150. And you've been pulling these crazy views. How do you do it?
I listen to whatever Levi Manley tells me to. Whatever he says, I do. It's that simple.
That's smart. That's smart.
Now, it goes back to the formulas and having formulas and frameworks for content creation.
Yeah.
You know this better than anyone, but the hook at the start of your content, at the start of your videos, determines whether or not something is going to go
So first 3 seconds.
viral, blow up, get watched, get commented, shared.
Yep.
And at least for me, I just think of very basic things. One, do I have a prop?
Yeah. A visual pacifier.
A visual thing to pull me in and make me go, what the hell is that person going to do with that object or that item? And the prop doesn't always need to be physical. Number
So
two.
wait, hold on. What do you mean by that?
Video effects, the editing.
Oh yeah.
If I edit in an object or a logo,
Minecraft parkour.
yeah.
Dude, those are ridiculous.
Minecraft, at the bottom of the screen while I'm talking, that's gonna get way more retention.
It's called a visual pacifier, and it's it's like brain rot. But
but if you're doing a talking head video, a prop, right? Yeah. Having a physical object, something
just gives them another reason to keep watching. Yeah.
But it can't just be an object for the sake of it being a distraction. It's like that prop needs to tie into your metaphor that you're saying and to the story and to whatever. So number one is just something unique in that shot, that prop. Number two for me is essentially always having a big brand.
Okay.
And a big brand means we just went over this. One of my top viral videos recently was me talking about Harvard.
Yeah.
In the first 3 seconds, I said Harvard, and then I mentioned Harvard and then went on to talk about a use case and an experiment, and that blew up. Why? Because I mentioned a big brand that everyone's already related, like already knows and trusts, because they don't trust me, they don't know me,
right.
But they stick for the big brand, and the big brand can be a business, it can be a celebrity, it can be just something
that everyone knows,
that everybody knows. It doesn't always need to be business related.
I like that. Another thing I notice about your content is the controversial stuff is what gets the most traction, right?
Yeah, and I think that comes in part because AI is scary and AI is new, and no one knows how far we can take it and what we can do with it. But I'd say the first two, of having a prop and mentioning brands and, big associations, those are for the hook, and those are for keeping you, like, making you open your ears to listen.
Yeah.
The number one thing that matters is just value. Mm-hmm. It's just us having a good story, having stakes, delivering on what you say.
Yeah.
No matter what my hook is, a hook that just tells you, I don't know, listen to these God tier AI tools, I don't know, a hook that's just meant to hook you for the sake of hooking you isn't as valuable as a hook that tells you exactly what you're going to get in the video and then allows you to spend the rest of the time in the video delivering upon your promise.
I will say that is 100% correct. Not only for AI just not only for video content in general, for short form video content if you're talking to the camera, but also for the professional advertisements that I do for my clients, right? So something I say always is that you are making a video for them, because a lot of new content creators come out, they make the video for themselves. Well, they think they might be making it for them. Try to watch the video back and really put yourself in the audience's mind. People come out on social media and they talk about their successes, or it's almost like you're bragging, but you're not bragging, right? Yeah. They think that if I look so good, people are going to buy from me, right? Not the case. You need to provide them value so that they then trust you. They're not going to trust you from your successes. They're only going to trust you if you first provide value for them. So that goes with, again, the advertisements, the more professional advertisements. Is like, you are making this video for them. Why should they be watching this?
Yeah.
No one cares about you. They care about what they are going to get from your content. They care about themselves. Like, it's just plain and simple.
Here's what's really interesting. We live in a time where big brands and big businesses try to act like individuals, like creators and influencers, and small creators and individuals try to act like big brands. And what I've seen ultimately is we're in a period where who we buy from is individuals, right? That's why the creator economy has blown up like crazy.
I just learned that CEOs get more engagement than their companies on LinkedIn. So you're right.
Yeah. And what's really important is, you're right. I watch content not for you, not for the creator always. I watch it for myself. But the stories, the things that matter, they need to be from a first person point of view. They need to be human. They need to be real, authentic. It's when that CEO talks about their struggles, that video gets way more likes than the video just talking about their product and whatever. But a key piece here that I think most small creators, most small businesses miss is they get into the trap of trying to make viral content, just good content, or making content for the sake of making content. Don't make any content if you don't have a product to sell. And don't make content unless you're going to sell. And this is really tricky. This is super, super tricky because I can't make a video that says, here's my product or here's my service, go buy it. No one's going to buy it. I have to make a video that goes, I had a problem and I really struggled with it, and I just cared about it so much that I dedicated the last 5 years to solving it. And this is what I came up with. If you got a similar problem, I hope this helps you, check it out.
Yeah. I love that, man. Wow. This has actually been a really valuable podcast, I feel like, for viewers listening. So thank you so much for coming on and let me pick your brain. I'd love to have you on again, but yeah, dude.
Thank you so much. I'm ready. I'm ready whenever you are.
Cool, man.
For everyone listening, Levi Manley is the man. His Fame Media Company is one of the best media companies I've gotten a chance to work with in the last 3 years of me running my company. I strongly recommend you, if you need help starting off, figuring out what's the best strategy for your content and your company's brand, to reach out to the man.
Appreciate it. And if
he's done a bunch of solid work for us.
If you need AI strategy, go to aidaddy.io, or did you change it to .com?
No, it's .com.
Okay.
Yeah.
aidaddy.com.
Do
you want to plug any socials?
AI Daddy on any social media. You'll see my silly grin and my silly face. Feel free to, whether it's on the social media or on the website, to book a call. Happy to just strategize, shoot the shit, and help you come up with what are good ideas for your company, free of charge. I always do these calls with anyone who's interested because I think that getting AI right is so important, and
Yes.
it's something that can't be postponed.
Absolutely, man. Awesome. Thanks for coming on.
Cheers.